The 2024 US election is attracting unwanted attention. As millions of Americans prepare to cast their votes, the integrity of the democratic process is under threat. Foreign powers are trying to tip the scales. These actors are not just meddling in the shadows, they are actively working to influence the outcome. US intelligence agencies have identified Russia, Iran, and China as the main culprits. These nations have been linked to various cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns aimed at destabilizing the election. Each nation has its own motives and strategies, but they share a common goal: to undermine American democracy. By exploiting existing divisions, they aim to create chaos and weaken the nation's political fabric. These hostile actors are exploiting America's divisions. They use social media platforms to spread false information, hoping to influence public opinion and sow discord among the populace. They spread disinformation and propaganda. Fake news articles, misleading headlines, and controversial posts are all tools in their arsenal. Their aim is to sow chaos and distrust. By creating confusion and mistrust, they hope to erode the public's confidence in the electoral process. The intelligence community is on high alert. Agencies are working around the clock to monitor and counter these threats, employing advanced technology and surveillance methods. Their mission to protect the integrity of the election. The stakes are high, and the outcome will determine the future direction of the country. The outcome of the election will have global repercussions. The world is watching closely, aware that the results will impact international relations and global stability. The world is watching, anxious about the future of American democracy. As the election unfolds, the eyes of the globe are fixed on the United States, waiting to see how this pivotal moment will shape the future. Russia favors a familiar face: Donald Trump. His previous term in office was marked by a series of decisions that aligned closely with Russian interests, making him a preferred candidate for the Kremlin. Despite public denials, intelligence assessments are clear. Multiple agencies have confirmed that Russia has a vested interest in seeing Trump return to power. Putin wants the former president back in the White House. His administration's policies provided a strategic advantage to Russia, and Putin is keen to see that dynamic restored. The reason? Trump's presidency served Russian interests. His approach to foreign policy often benefited Russia, creating opportunities for Moscow to expand its influence. Trump weakened US global standing. His actions on the international stage often isolated the United States, making it easier for Russia to assert its power. He eroded trust in NATO. He downplayed Russian aggression, which undermined the alliance's unity and effectiveness. Moscow believes a second Trump term would be a geopolitical win. They see an opportunity to further their agenda with Trump in office. They are working to make it happen. Russian operatives are actively engaged in efforts to influence the upcoming election. Russian operatives are spreading disinformation. They are using sophisticated techniques to create and disseminate false narratives. They are using social media to manipulate voters. By targeting specific demographics, they aim to sway public opinion in Trump's favor. Their goal is to sow discord and boost Trump's chances. By creating confusion and division, they hope to weaken the democratic process. The Kremlin's playbook is clear: interfere, disrupt, and weaken America. Their strategy is to exploit vulnerabilities and ensure a favorable outcome for Russia. Iran's stance is different. They are wary of Trump's hawkish foreign policy. The Islamic Republic likely favors the Democratic nominee. They see this as the path to easing sanctions. Trump withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal. He imposed crippling sanctions. This fueled tensions between the two countries. Iran views a democratic president as more open to dialogue. Tehran's preference doesn't equal alignment with US interests. Iran has its own agenda. They may limit their interference to avoid provoking the US. However, they could exploit opportunities to advance their goals. Section 4. Beijing's long game. China is playing a more subtle game. They're not focused on a specific candidate. Their strategy influenced down-ballot races, their target US policy towards China. China aims to elect officials sympathetic to their interests. They are focusing on districts with strong economic ties to China. Their goal is to reshape US policy from within. This approach is insidious. It erodes American resolve on key issues. It undermines US leadership on the world stage. China's strategy is a long-term threat to American democracy. Section 5. The arsenal of interference. Foreign actors are using a range of tactics to influence the election. Disinformation is their primary weapon. They spread lies and propaganda through social media. Their goal to manipulate public opinion. Cyber attacks are another tool. Hackers target political campaigns and election infrastructure. They steal sensitive data and try to disrupt voting. These attacks undermine trust in the electoral process. Economic coercion is also used. Foreign powers pressure businesses and politicians with economic leverage. They use this to influence policy decisions. This undermines American sovereignty. Section 6. Safeguarding American democracy. In an era where the integrity of democratic processes is under constant threat, safeguarding American democracy has never been more crucial. The US government is acutely aware of the multifaceted threats that loom over the nation. They are taking comprehensive steps to protect the election process, ensuring that every vote counts and is counted accurately. This includes not only strengthening election infrastructure, but also combating the pervasive spread of disinformation that seeks to undermine public trust. Intelligence agencies are working overtime, dedicating countless hours to safeguarding the democratic process. They are meticulously monitoring foreign activity, tracking any signs of interference or manipulation, and sharing critical information with campaigns to ensure they are prepared for any threats. Law enforcement is actively pursuing individuals involved in election interference, bringing them to justice to maintain the integrity of the process. Social media companies are under immense pressure to act responsibly. They are taking down fake accounts and labeling disinformation to prevent the spread of false narratives. However, despite these efforts, more needs to be done. The public must remain vigilant and proactive. The threat is constantly evolving, with new tactics and technologies emerging regularly. The 2024 election is a critical test for American democracy, a moment that will define the nation's future. Foreign adversaries are relentlessly trying to undermine it, using sophisticated methods to disrupt the democratic process. The US must remain vigilant, constantly adapting to new threats and challenges. The future of the nation depends on it, and every citizen has a role to play in safeguarding democracy for generations to come.